it is Tuesday night. That means another Dynasty Points. I'm happy to be here. The guys are happy to be here. We have real football, real news, things to discuss, things that may or may not matter for real this time. Before we get into all that, we can finally say the Fantasy Points front office is here. Promo code FPFO. We've had fantastic feedback. We've already implemented changes based on user feedback. It's been a fantastic rollout. I couldn't be happier with how it's gone. So shout out to all of you guys. Shout out to everyone subscribing and liking this channel. We are growing rapidly. We want to thank you guys for that. Thank you for joining us again. We have Jakob Sanderson, Ryan Heath, Lucas Gilbert. Jacob, you have been going crazy on the fast reactions over at Thinking About Thinking. Ryan has been busy updating his rankings like crazy. And we know Lucas is in the war room, if you would, consistently working to get Dynasty War up and running and operational inside the Fantasy Points front office. We're very, very close for that. Want to thank everyone for joining us today. I'm excited to dive right into what we have, news and notes, and I don't think there's a better way to kick things off than, Jacob, let's talk about something you nailed right on the head. Keenan Allen signs with the Colts. Your worst nightmare has come true. Maybe not your worst nightmare, but not something that you were very, let's say, optimistic with as a result. So let's get the instant reactions. Again, people can go and read more in depth at Thinking About Thinking, but everyone knows the Colts fandom. We need to know.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled about it. That's for sure. Largely because if you look at the two offenses that Keenan Allen played in the last two seasons, it was just very notable how willing everybody on his respective teams seemingly were willing to be to just run a lot of their offense around him, in my opinion, to those offenses' detriment. He was in the 18th percentile last year in EPA among wide receivers, despite seeing 122 targets. Similarly inefficient on a lot of work with the Chicago Bears. It's a guy who, at this point in time, I mean, he was never fast. He ran a 4.7 40 at the combine. God, now, what would that have been? 11 years ago, 12 years ago, something like that? I'm willing to bet he didn't get faster in the last 12 years. I'm not sure that he would break 4.9 these days. So you have a guy who is probably running the entirety of his routes within about 8 yards of the line of scrimmage on a team that, in my opinion, already has two perfectly capable options in that area of the field, who is going to earn a lot of targets and kind of forces, I think, more versatile players to run further downfield routes to accommodate him. So I don't like it. I don't think he makes the team better. I think he actually makes the team worse. I'm still not that surprised that they did it. They obviously needed depth at the wide receiver position. Once they let Michael Pittman go, their third starting receiver was very likely going to be Ashton Doolin or Nick Westbrook-Akine or Laquan Treadwell. That's completely unacceptable. So if they can restrain themselves, unlike the Bears and unlike the Chargers, and they can use Keenan Allen as a situational third receiver, similar to how Pittman was used, but far less, clearly makes them better, I think, to have a more capable option to have him than Ashton Doolin. If he's just installed as Michael Pittman was, then I think that would be bad. I would argue that that's very unlikely for the reason that they had $31 million available in cap space. They could just have Michael Pittman on this team. They traded him for a 7th-round pick. I think that they got rid of Michael Pittman out of a genuine desire to run more of their offense through Warren and Pierce and Downs. And so I don't suspect that they're going to make Keenan Allen a massive presence in their offense. The other thing I want to hit on, so people have already expressed a lot of takes on how this will affect Josh Downs. And obviously it's a net negative for him and for Tyler Warren than the situation they were in just a few days ago. But I think that people are overemphasizing it a lot. And a lot of that, I think, is based off of what happened with Ladd McConkey last year. So I really want to stress all the different reasons that Ladd failed last year and which of those Keenan is plausibly responsible for, which parts he's not. So Ladd McConkey was fantastic year one. Going into year two, he actually only saw 8 fewer targets. That's pretty shocking because he scored so many fewer points. The reason he was so much less effective as a fantasy asset last year is because he was way less efficient on a per target basis. Now, he also ran a lot more routes. So if you look at him versus the previous year, he went from 23% targets per route run down to 18% targets per route run. That's how we saw fewer targets even on more routes. If you're trying to assign, okay, how did Keenan really hurt Ladd McConkey? That's probably the biggest area, is that Keenan is going to earn a ton more targets per route than most wide receivers in the NFL. He's going to do it at a low ADOT. That's going to push Ladd further downfield. It's going to take away targets from him. But then Ladd also saw a 3.1 yard decline in his yards per target, and he saw a 10 percentage point decline in his catch rate. He saw a 2.0 point yard decline in his yards per reception. None of that to me is Keenan Allen. Like, Keenan Allen does not make other wide receivers less efficient at football just by his mere presence. And if anything, I would suggest that if you look at how much less efficient Ladd was and all these other metrics, that it makes me hesitant to even put the entirety of the targets per route run decline on Keenan, because Ladd was clearly a pretty decisively worse player in all respects last year than he was in 2024. Part of the efficiency decline, I would definitely say, is also the offensive line injuries that the Chargers were dealing with last year. And then part of it might be some health stuff, like Ladd McConkey's talked about, and there was a recent podcast with Greg Rosenthal. They were talking about how he was never healthy last year. And then the last thing to note is, again, he ran 80 more routes last year than he did the year before. He had a 90% route rate. So it's not like Keenan Allen was pushing him off the field. So how can Josh Downs get hurt by this? Every single route that Keenan Allen runs, he's going to be a better target earner than Nick Westbrook-Akine or Ashton Dulin, right? To the point of, it might be legitimately like 25% targets per route run for Keenan Allen versus 15% targets per route run for one of these other guys. Let's say Keenan Allen runs 2/3 of the routes. That would be a 7% jump in targets per route run. So you could deduct 7% from kind of every other wide receiver on the team's targets per route run. That's meaningful. So how does he not affect Josh Downs? First off, I don't think he affects his routes. I would be absolutely shocked if Keenan Allen was playing full-time in 2 wide receiver sets this season. He wasn't playing in that role with the Chargers last year. He is really, really old. I think that they're going to use him situationally. They've been very excited about using Josh Downs more often. And currently, Alec Pierce isn't even healthy. So I just think it's important to be precise about that aspect, because I do think people are going to punish Josh Downs too much. I barely moved him down in my redraft stuff, largely because I was kind of factoring in the likelihood of a Keenan Allen signing previously, and I still thought he was pretty strong at ADP there. If Keenan Allen had not signed, I thought he was like several rounds undervalued.
I'm going to largely echo most of what Jacob said, right down to the excellent points about Ladd McConkey, where yes, I think we have this issue in fantasy football where when we get things wrong, I got Ladd McConkey wrong last year. A lot of people got Ladd McConkey wrong last year. When we get things wrong, we tend to focus on one reason for it, or we just latch on to one explanation like, oh, I knew it. I should have lowered Ladd in my rankings when Keenan Allen signed. That's the lesson I'm taking. But I don't think we critically examine that thought process very often. It's usually multiple reasons that you got something wrong. There are usually multiple, at least potential ways that you could have messed up a take. And I think we tend to just go to one, and everyone is unlikely to like challenge you on that one thing, especially if it's the one thing that lets them feel better about them getting the take wrong. And it causes us to miss stuff like that, where yes, the yards per target breakdown of Ladd being less efficient last year, and how that relates to Josh Downs. I just thought that was excellent analysis by Jacob. So big props there. For me with Josh Downs, I largely agree. I moved him down literally one spot in my redraft rankings. I had built it in to my blurb on Downs initially and said, if Keenan signs, I will exactly move him down one spot. I will flip him and Chris Godwin. That's exactly what I did. That's exactly how I still feel. Downs is still going to play in 2 wide receiver sets. That's what we've been seeing. Keenan basically didn't play in 2 wide receiver sets at all. Last year, he pretty much only came on the field as the 3rd receiver. Yeah, just what was annoying about the Chargers last year was they played a lot of those 3+ receiver sets in order to get Keenan on the field, which maybe isn't that surprising. A guy that had all that built up chemistry with Justin Herbert, it makes sense that that's kind of how their season played out. Keenan's a year older. Based on this separation score data that we have up on the screen, Keenan is not a convincing replacement for a Michael Pittman and the types of routes that he was having to run last year. To me, Downs a much more convincing replacement if we're just playing the game where we say who's going to be in the X role. Or by X, I don't mean literally X on a football field. I mean like X the variable. Josh Downs in the Pittman role, X in the Y role. To me, that's not Keenan to Pittman at all. And I think you just step back and look at this and say, Keenan Allen is target competition. Tyler Warren is target competition. There's now no Michael Pittman. There's now Alec Pierce, who is still out, very likely going to be somewhat limited, at least early in the season. Jeff Muller, our fantasy points injury expert, has talked about how what Pierce is dealing with could impact his kind of downfield explosiveness a lot this year. All of these still come together to me to say Josh Downs is extremely undervalued, has been undervalued in all formats all offseason pretty much. And don't forget, Josh Downs legitimately can get downfield like a little bit. Like that was when we had Joe Flacco running this offense, that was a part of Downs' game, was to get some of the downfield targets as well. I think he's maybe a little bit underrated in that sense. And yeah, with Pierce out, maybe that is kind of where the Colts have to turn in order to stretch the field. So I think there's a lot of just areas where Downs can still step in, still have a career year, still run the most routes that he's ever run in his NFL career. And that's where I'm at. I don't have a big kind of negative reaction, just like Jacob.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is you're looking at this and we're all trying to figure out like who's going to fill the Alec Pierce role if Pierce is kind of banged up, if he's not as effective early on, or if they're trying to limit what his role is while he's trying to get a little bit healthier. And it sounds some of that down the field type role. It definitely isn't Keenan Allen. I don't think it's going to be Tyler Warren just based off of what his usage was last year, how he was used at Penn State as well. That's just not really like where he is. I'm a little curious on your all's thoughts on if Josh Downs is going to be, a little bit higher upside play if he is going to have that down the field role initially, or should that even factor in at all to how we're looking at this?
I mean, I think it's important to know what the team was last year, right? So the team was last year 3 short area target players and Alec Pierce. Michael Pittman's never been a high dot guy. Josh Downs never been a high dot guy. Tyler Warren's never been a high dot guy. I think Josh Downs of those 3, or certainly of the 3, including Keenan, if someone is going to become like more of an intermediate guy, to me it would be him. But none of these guys are really downfield options with the exception of Pierce. The easiest way that I would look at this team now is this is the 2025 Indianapolis Colts, except Michael Pittman's no longer playing in 2 receiver sets. Josh Downs is. And that Michael Pittman is now named Keenan Allen. And then also Alec Pierce is hurt. The Alec Pierce thing, I don't think that him being hurt is helpful for Downs or for anyone. Like the offense desperately needs some level of vertical element to succeed. So if he's going to be out long term, I think that's like, it's just a negative for the entire touchdown expectation of the team. Maybe there's some additional targets, but like I don't think Alec Pierce is going to earn a ton of targets. I think he's going to earn probably pretty similar to the 17% targets per route run he earned last year, about a 28 ot, and his role is about stretching the field and creating a lot of efficiency when he is targeted. But I'm not expecting him to be a massive volume hog. I just think he's a very, very necessary piece for the offense.
I think my biggest concern is that they're going to decide that Nick Westbrook-Akine is somehow the deep ball player until Alec Pierce is back, and then it just gets really annoying. Like,
Yeah, he probably is. I mean, like someone has to be. If Alec Pierce misses time, which I mean, for the record, everyone associated with the Colts is insisting he will not miss time. I'm skeptical of that, but I feel like we're acting like it's a fait accompli that he's going to miss time. He might still be out there for week 1, but yeah, someone's got to be the deep guy if it's not Alec Pierce. I mean, that guy's going to be the most sacrificial wind sprinter of all time. But
yeah,
someone's going to be doing it.
A Jalen Guyton, if you would, a name I haven't used in a really long time to describe a wide receiver. Yeah, the sacrificial wind sprinter, if you would. Let's move to the next thing. It's very rare in the NFL that we see one play happen and it is immediately followed up by a move to completely change how rosters are built. Tyrone Tracy Jr. blew a horrendous block, got Jackson Dart put in the medical tent again, and now Najee Harris is on the roster. So we saw an immediate impact of a player messing up and the team going, not good enough, and immediately going and filling that void. There's a lot of talk about, is it Cam being healthy enough? Is Tracy getting cut because of the missed block? What's the rotation going to look like? Greg Roman, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, wanted Najee in LA, which was a whole thing last year before he became a one-legged pirate. Like very, very interesting stuff out of New York, as I just don't see teams move that reactionary very often. But how do you guys see it panning out? To me, Najee Harris is very much just a near nothing burger, but there are people genuinely concerned. TTJ was like an awesome, an awesome handcuff upside bet given what he did last year, and now I don't even know if that's even the case.
I'm not so sure that Najee Harris is a nothing burger.
Oh, interesting.
Like, I hope he's a nothing burger. I don't know. Like, you're telling me that a staff full of John Harbaugh, Greg Roman, Matt Nagy, and Brian Callahan, like, isn't gonna make a bunch of boomer decisions that I don't necessarily agree with? Like, maybe. I don't know. I think they probably like Najee Harris. Cam Scatterbo is like by a mile to me the most impressive talent in this backfield. The injury stuff is a major question mark. I've not really gotten the Tyrone Tracy hype. I mean, there's not as much hype in Dynasty, I guess, but like from where he's being drafted in seasonal leagues, there's been a lot of positive sentiment towards him from a lot of people. I haven't personally understood it. I get some of the Scatterbo sentiment, but we saw last year, like even when Scatterbo was completely down, he was a low-end RB2 who had some level of a split in terms of high-value touches with Devin Singletary last year. So I'm not totally sure why he would be my favorite RB2 target. Like, I think there's far higher upside RB2s around. And now it's not that clear to me that he is the RB2. If I was constructing a running back room, like I look at Scatterbo and I say, okay, this is a slower guy, but he's a really good pass catcher and he's a tackle breaking machine. And then I look at Devin Singletary, and I'm like, this is a slower guy who has always had strong tackle-breaking metrics, like reliable passing downs, pass protection guy. The guy I'd want as a compliment is someone like Tyrone Tracy, someone whose success rates have typically been poor. The advanced metrics are not great. I don't think he's a true starter, but he's explosive. And maybe in a role where he could actually just be a change of pace back, we'd even see him be more efficient. Them bringing in Najee Harris, especially with the timeline, I mean, I know the beat reporters are saying it has nothing to do with Tyrone Tracy's missed block, and maybe that's true, but I guess I just have my suspicions on whether that's actually true. And I just could see this Giants coaching staff like leaning into reliability at all costs, because Tracy does have some significant weaknesses. His success rates have been really poor each of the last 2 years, and the pass protection obviously is a concern. And I'll note that they didn't seemingly want to play Scatterbo in obvious passing situations in the preseason. That's odd to me. I mean, again, this coaching staff is odd to me. If they wanted to use Scatterbo as an early down back and they're looking for the complement to him to be a passing down back. Like, that's not really Tracy. I know he's a converted receiver, but he's not really a third down back. Like, one of the reasons that converted receivers tend to not play that much pass downs is that they have zero pass protection experience. So, like, I don't expect Tyrone Tracy to hold up that role. If that's what they're looking for from a backup to Scadaboo is playing 3rd and 10s. Like, to me, that's Singletary, or it could be Najee Harris.
I am also concerned. I'm concerned about Tyrone Tracy just in general. I already didn't think he was a good pick this year. That this is adding fuel to that fire. But I am legitimately concerned about Cam Scadaboo just from watching how this is played out. My interest in Scadaboo as a fantasy asset is he is a good passing down back. He's a good pass catcher, and he's big. He's going to get the goal line touches. Those are the two most high value things for fantasy. Some of the reason that I kind of had him up toward ADP in redraft, in Dynasty, despite my concerns about the Giants and despite my concerns about his explosiveness coming off of his injury, was, man, I can just lock Scadaboo into all the most valuable touches for fantasy just because that's his skill set. That's how he really succeeded last year. His expected fantasy points per game was that of an RB1 last year in that 4-week stretch where he was the nominal starter because of that, right? But if that's not the case, if this staff wants to use Cam Scadaboo as Derrick Henry, I don't think that's going to go very well when he's coming off of this significant leg injury, when he's just losing all the passing down stuff to maybe Najee Harris. It seemed like they wanted it to be Tyrone Tracy. And on top of that, it's probably not a very good offense run by Matt Nagy. They're probably not at the goal line that often. That scares me. That scares the hell out of me, actually. So I moved Scadaboo pretty far down my redraft rankings. He's below Quinshon Judkins for me now. I just think Judkins is the better, more stable talent. I like the coaching staff more if they're going to project for similar roles where Scadaboo is not getting used all that much in the passing game. I would just prefer Judkins. That's in a range where you're probably not getting him. And it's terrifying in Dynasty as well because Scadaboo is a day 3 running back that is going into this season with an injury, with a new coaching staff. This is a legitimately fragile player where if he doesn't perform up to expectation or exceed expectation even, he could be an afterthought on this depth chart by next offseason. That almost happened this last offseason. The Giants were rumored to be very in on Jeremiah Love. How true was that? We can't really know at this point, but that was at least in the ether, and it very much will continue to be with the 2027 class, I'm sure. So Scadaboo is a legit faller to me in redraft. He's a legit faller to me in Dynasty, where I now see a lot more of the risk side of his profile. He was a guy we talked about in our rankings tier show as like an interesting risk reward, kind of mix it up running back pick. I think that's way more tilted toward the risk now in the short term, in the long term. Just to me, the thought that they could be trying to use Scadaboo like Scadaboo and Tracy, or now Najee, like Derrick Henry and Justice Hill, is horrifying to me.
Yeah, I agree. I moved him down to a similar range. I had him a bit clear of that glut of like the Tootin, Bucky, Trevion, Price, Quinshon, all those guys. I moved him down to the very bottom of that tier now.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think really
in seasonal, to be clear, in seasonal.
Yeah, and even in Dynasty, if there is a manager out there who is like, oh, I'm going to buy Najee Harris now, I don't know, like whatever they offer, just take it. I don't think that there's really much point in waiting to see if he does something else. This is probably like the most excited anybody's going to be about Najee all season. So I'm okay with taking it. I'm not panic selling Scadaboo though by any stretch of the imagination now, especially if you've held on to him since he was breaking out, then had the injury, and now we're at this point. I'm still holding on to him because I don't think his value can go much lower realistically, because he's still going to be productive. It's just maybe not the ceiling that we were looking for.
Yeah, this is a classic last chance to sell type moment. None of us expected to have another one, but if you can sell him as the handcuff running back, I would just do that immediately. Let's talk about a player who signed a contract extension and may not be so happy with the let's just say playing surface. Breece Hall, turf monster. He says need grass ASAP. Breece Hall with a groin injury. The way it sounded to me when it initially happened, we initially put this on there, was that it was going to be a little worse than maybe it was led on to be. But again, this just this not answers, but brings up the Braylon Allen conversation, which I think is an important one. I think Braylon Allen is a nice add to have, but I don't know if he's must have. I think Breece Hall looked fantastic. Like, I have no worry about the opening of the season for Breece Hall at all. But dynasty managers they're again overexcited.
I moved Bruce down very little. This is a grade 1 groin strain. No problems for me.
I didn't even touch Breece's ranking. I was already a bit behind ADP on him, but my concerns around Breece are very related to the offense and to his usage, and him missing a couple of weeks of preseason is not really relevant to any of that for me for an established player. I don't think this is going to change how, whatever the Jets' plan was in terms of how they deploy their backfield this year, I don't think this is very likely to change it. They have seen Breece get minorly banged up and play through injuries for years now. I don't know why something like this would change anything. So if Breece ends up falling in redraft, I might actually get some of him, which would be kind of fun. But yeah, this in Dynasty, this means nothing to me. Braylon Allen continues to mean nothing to me. Please let me stop having to talk and think about Braylon freaking Allen. We are in 2026 and we're still here talking about Braylon Allen, and I can't believe it.
He's got his whole life ahead of him.
My comment for that was, if you're seeing somebody touting like the Braylon Allen, he was always the buy types, that check the roster ship, right? Kind of dive a little deeper than the surface of like the initial analysis for sure. But I think he's a fine. I think he's like a good handcuff. Like, I don't believe in any other back really on the Jets roster, but that's all we can say for that. Like, this is again another player that I would probably look to move off of at the opportunity. I will say, like, I have this play up for a specific reason. Like, this one alone, I looked at it and I went, oh, I'm probably underweight on Breece Hall. Like, I think he's gonna be perfectly fine. Like, I think the talk of lack of explosiveness, let's say, or at him losing some of it, let's say, that has kind of popped up last year, I looked at this play, just one play, and I went, oh no, I'm underweight. So I think I'm just buying. Like, I want to buy anywhere I can. I want to buy. Don't care. Groin injury. The Jets offense looks terrible. I don't know. Klubnik's going to play. I mean, Klubnik is going to play at some point this year. I still just don't care. I think Breece Hall is very much going to be a monster. And I think if you don't have him, you're going to regret it.
I don't want to touch any Jets at all. I don't feel good about it at any point in time. I understand what we're saying. It's just, it just feels gross. And I really, like, I'd be more excited about this if someone other than Braylon Allen was sitting there to be the handcuff. That would make me feel a little bit better. It'd also make me feel better that they could use Breece in more efficient ways instead of having to use him as the bell cow, because I think he would really benefit from being able to have like a little bit better committee than what they kind of force him into, because I don't think he can necessarily handle the floor. People who were talking about him going into the season, same with basically every other quarterback in that whole class, but is what it is.
Yeah, I we'll see what happens. It's going to be another weird year on offense for the Jets, but I'm liking it. Okay, let's take a look at some of the questions before we get into 5 for 5 and some of the comments. We did have Roma Dunze's season is almost here. That it almost is. And yes, percentages today. Drake Maddox says, first time sub, love your work, gents. He goes, how am I doing in my first startup? And I mean, he's just flexing at this point. Bijan Bowers, Love, Garrett Wilson. I think you're doing a damn good job. I think that's a heck of a start for anybody, let alone, something starting out.
8-team league, move some future firsts. How does this all work? Why do we have 3 top 2-round picks? Come on, what's going on here?
I mean, I do love a league that doesn't value tight ends. So I've definitely seen it. But if you use the Love news, the injury to your advantage, we talked about that a little bit on the episode dropping tomorrow. I think you're in an absolutely great position. Well done, well played. Jelly of the Month wants to know, think Aaron Jones is washed and grab Mason in the mid rounds? Question mark. How are you guys viewing the Vikings backfield?
Yes, I think Aaron Jones is washed. I would rather have Mason of the 2, but the Vikings backfield under Kevin O'Connell has been historically a bottom 5 XFP backfield. So for me, like, instead of taking a Vikings running back, I would just take a Commanders running back.
I agree completely. Yeah. My only issue with Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones is it played out last year. Aaron Jones got banged up at several points. Even Jordan Mason, I believe, missed time once or twice, and neither of them ever really mattered because, this is not a team that runs the ball inside the 5-yard line really at all. They kind of tried to go a little run heavier with JJ McCarthy being so terrible last year, and it sort of worked, but it never really mattered for fantasy. I'm just not into this backfield. Give me almost any other backfield to take a shot on, honestly.
I mean, the case for Mason, and I was really shocked how wide the gap was when I was doing this in the offseason, because it didn't feel that way throughout the course of the season since he wasn't ever gaining work and was actually kind of losing work over the course of the season. The bull case is that Aaron Jones' metrics were in the absolute tank last year, and Mason's were surprisingly good. The case against Mason is that his metrics were way better than Aaron Jones all year last year, and the Vikings didn't care, and they kept it as a split, that actually favored Jones. So, what else would need to change for that to be fixed? Maybe they just go in the offseason, they reevaluate, and they decide, okay, we were wrong. We should have been more open-minded to Mason. That's what the report suggests. So if I had to pick one, I'd pick Mason, but I'm not that optimistic. This is a backfield that I think is going to have a ton of...
Yeah, it's not like he's very expensive. I mean, RB44 in our positional ranking for Dynasty Superflex drafts, so it's not like you have to pay a lot. His trade value is not really heavy, a hefty price, if you were to look at recent trades. I love buying. Look, I love fat ass running backs. These are the type of guys that I am begging give me 8.5, 9 points per game in the dog days of the football season. But I don't want to be reaching for him kind of more mid rounds. He says 1 QB. Even still, sorry, that was for a different question that we have that we'll get to in a second. But I'm not thrilled to roster Mason, but I don't think you're gonna really be mad that you are. So I think he's just kind of a fine veteran fill-in type player. Players are gonna get hurt, and again, these kind of players get scoffed at. But I mean, if he scores you a touchdown and rushes for 50 yards, I mean, you're gonna be kind of happy as an emergency flex type scenario. Now, we did cover this basher in the beginning, but because Keenan, what do I do with Josh Downs? I believe the consensus here was nothing changes. So
I'm aggressively targeting him.
There you go. Yeah, which again, I don't think that really changed based on this. I think for the most part, we are all kind of aggressively paying. If you're not attached to the Twitter ecosphere of Dynasty fantasy football, if your league isn't, or leagues aren't super attached to the fantasy content drum beats of how some of these players get steamed up like Josh Downs, in our leagues, Josh Downs is going to cost you, a significant down payment on a house. But in general leagues, a move like Keenan Allen being added is definitely going to make him more available. So know your league, but we're definitely buying. I'm not paying the iron price, but I'll pay a hefty price if you would. we have got a trade question before we get into 5 for 5. Do you keep Josh Allen?
Keeper question.
Yes. Do you keep Josh
Keeper
Allen? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I thought it was a trade. Do you keep Josh Allen, A.J. Brown, or Kenneth Walker? It's a 12-man half PPR, but it is one quarterback.
Assuming there's no round attached to this, like where it's not like different players cost you whatever different round they were drafted in last year and it's just straight up, then I would definitely keep Kenneth Walker.
I would also keep Kenneth Walker, and I've been having this realization as I've been telling subs to keep Kenneth Walker that all drafted him because I told them to last year in round 4 of like redraft and keeper leagues. I'm like, man, I never in December would have guessed that this was where I ended up with Ken Walker this year, that I'm actually telling everyone time to double down, but it is time to double down.
You told me Ken Walker last year, and I didn't get his points for his playoff run, Ryan. We've seen a couple stuff like this. Hound says Keenan a good dude for keeping Downs' price low. Eckler must have put him onto this, or put him to this. Could have been. Hallen also wants to know. Also, should I trade a 28-1 for Parker Washington? Guys, startup just finished, but I believe I'm top 4, which you would be able to check with the Fantasy Points front office. You're able to check what your title odds are versus you and your league mates. It's a little plug there, but what are we doing?
That's just not my process. That's that would be the old don't buy receivers on credit would apply to me in that case.
Yeah, I think that's...
Yeah, I don't have much to add to that. I don't think I'm sending 28-1s for Parker Washington.
No, I can't think of a scenario that makes sense.
I think Washington I think Washington could have a really good year, a really good breakout. I think he needs a lot of things to happen for that to be worth it to you for a 2028 first. There's a lot of things that need to happen.
I think it can be worth it, but I don't think you can win super hard on it. There's no... short of Parker Washington becoming a perennial top 12 fantasy wide receiver, you are almost never going to be like, man, I sure am glad I don't have that pick now and I have Washington instead. Like that, maybe it breaks even if things go right, but that's just not a position I want to put myself in to bet on one particular player.
Yeah, it's pretty easy for me to imagine it being a small win. It's just that from like a process perspective, if this is the kind of move that you make over and over and over again, I think that you're going to rack up a decent chunk of small wins, a decent chunk of small losses, but you're going to have a few catastrophic losses where almost regardless of what happens with specifically Parker Washington, you end up getting to that season that's 2 years in advance and players that you thought were great aren't, and players get hurt and things change, and you're going to really wish that you had your first because either your team is bad or you just wish that you had control over your own picks so that you could pick your own path. Trading picks that are 2 years out is something that I almost never do. But if I am ever going to do that, like it better be for a very scarce player that you're not going to get otherwise. Like it's got to be like someone in the league chat is blowing up their team and they're saying Jamar Chase is available, and you have your chance to go and add one of the most sought after and impossible to trade for players in Dynasty. Like it's got to be that level of player that I'm adding these future firsts into because that's the only way you're getting to the value of a Chase or a Josh Allen or a Lamar Jackson, etc. Like for Parker or anyone in his range, that's just not going to be a process that I'm going to engage in. It's something as Parker particularly.
So just throwing this out here, this is not an official thing yet, but in my initial Dynasty War model, Parker Washington in a base 28 first are ranked 90 and ranked 91. Terms of all the players, so it's way closer than I was even expecting it to be, but I'm still going to be on the side of 28 first.
I look at it like this: if you're somebody that does a lot of moves like this, you're probably somebody that is okay like adding a little bit to each trade just to get it done, and just eventually you run out of wiggle room, like you're just backed into a corner and you don't have a way out. So I'm no, like, for that reason I'm out. I just want to have my liquidity, and especially we're in August. Like I don't want to fire that bullet in August. Jacob, you talk a lot about the golden gun. You get one bullet with your draft picks. I don't want to do a 2028 in August 2026. I just think it limits you a little bit too much. And then one last question we have before we go. What's up? Go to 5 for 5 anyway. What's up, beauties? Hello. Do you manage an Empire format differently than pure Dynasty, restarting up an Empire before the season? As someone that has come close to hitting the 3 wins in a league Jacob and I are in, I came close. I went back to back. I didn't manage any differently. I still want to try to win, and what happens, happens. Winning should be your number one goal. And I mean, in most empires, you vote on it, and a lot of people don't like blowing their team up from what I've experienced. So anytime that it's come up, the re-roll has never happened. I don't know if the guys on the panel have anything different, but
I play in an Empire League, and I've played in one that rolled over, and then it almost did it again. So it's a league that I started way back when I was in the Bulletproof Discord. I started one for people there, and it's a 14-team Empire League, and someone won it twice, and we did re-roll it over. And then I won it the first year after the reroll, and I got to the finals the next year. So I was really close to almost doing a double reroll and getting on our 3rd year, but then I lost in the finals. I think if it's a vote, then if it's a vote, like you should be like House of Cards. You should be trying to figure out how the vote is going to go, because that gives you important information. So you got to be in the DMs of members of Congress, figuring out how they're going to vote on the bill. If it's not a vote and it just goes automatically, then I definitely think that you manage it a little bit differently. Because, it's at that point, so they're saying not a vote. I mean, this is a spot where I have so many different questions that we're not going to be able to get through all the different contingencies. But is there a trade deadline? When is the trade deadline?
Yeah.
Because if there's no trade deadline and there's no vote, then fuck it. Push all in. Get anybody you can. I mean, unfortunately, people probably won't trade with you. But the fun thing is some people really might trade with you. Some people might want it to roll over. Some people's team might suck. So that's a fun little back and forth of playing incentives against incentives. But the more information that you have, the closer you can get to a title. If you can potentially rack up the possibility of winning 2 straight titles, getting an extra pot for the Empire, and you face no long-term consequences because the league just rolls over, that's worth it. That's a big prize.
Yeah, I'd love that. I think that's the best breakdown you're really going to get. Look, we had a lot of great submissions, and I wish I did this sooner into the off season. A lot of great submissions for the new manager in the League of Record in FNL. I'll announce that officially next week. It's not going to be this week, but I just wanted to say before we get to 5 for 5, we had so many messages about people that have been following since day one, people that have been a dedicated listener since we got here to Fantasy Points, and new subs. And what that's told me is that we need another listener league. So I think what I'm going to do is everyone that has made a submission is going to get first invite to the next Fantasy Points Listener League, where we will have jerseys up for grabs for the winners, etc. So that'll be really exciting. Winner of the FNL participant will be next week, and I'll have information about the startup where the draft will start the week before the NFL season. So I'm excited for that. I know more people wanted a Fantasy Points Listener League. We're going to get that done here. With that being said, are you guys ready for 5 for 5? I know I'm ready for 5 for 5. I didn't even tell. I have to again make sure I didn't butcher 5 for 5, and it's not going to pop up with the answers. It is not. I got it right. Shout out me for not blowing it. Hopefully I didn't leave any questions this time from last week or answers in the questions, which has also happened. This is the way it works. Chat, you guys get 3 guesses per question unless the hosts move on before you guys get all 3 guesses. No cheating. We're playing this on an honor system, but to kind of combat how many viewers we have to our hosts, if the chat gets it, I'm not going to tell our hosts. Our hosts get the opportunity to score some points. Right now, we have Jacob at 48, Ryan at 12, chat in the lead with 52, Lucas here with 19. Probably would have more if he would stop giving Ryan answers. And then, of course, I have only stumped on 2 separate questions, giving me my 2 points. So I did not tell these guys the theme. It is preseason machines. So with the hype being real, let's dive into some preseason machines here for 5 for 5. Let's go. Question 1. In my preseason opener against Tampa Bay, I completed 6 of 7 passes for 70 yards on a 10-play, 83-yard touchdown drive.
Okay.
No, pass.
Yeah, not super helpful, but I like the topic. I want to give
Jacob's
you a
muted.
compliment on the topic.
Oh, this is going to be a bad topic for me. It's a good topic, but it's going to be not a good topic for me. I don't pay attention to preseason. I certainly don't remember it. Like, the only thing I remember, if preseason machines was this guy played fewer snaps than expected and Nathan Yonke wrote a mean tweet about him, then I would have a chance. But if you're telling me about actual things they did on a football field, I'm not getting one all night.
Yep.
And all of these have something to do with what happened on the football field.
Yeah, that's not
Almost
happening
all.
for me.
So
I'm not catching the chat tonight. All right, next.
the first team offense scored 14 points in only 7 plays against Buffalo's first team defense.
Kenny Pickett.
This is Kenny Pickett.
There we go. That I knew. Because I just saw an interview. I know they played Buffalo because I just saw an interview yesterday of Micah Hyde talking about how they didn't prepare at all for this game, and the Steelers came out and they were acting like it was game 1, and then Kenny Pickett was balling all over them.
So he goes from I'm not going to get one to catching the chat here at 52.
I only know this because Liam Murphy is such a constantly aggrieved Bills fan that he was posting this about a game 6 years ago, being like, "See, we didn't try against Kenny Pickett in the preseason."
That's so funny. Okay, I'm not going to give you more hints because it might change how you guys look at the. We can go back at the old questions. If we
Watch
want
your
to.
back, chat. We're tied, bitch.
The chat is in disbelief right now. Hallen said, "Bruh." Wow. You're putting them on notice. Let's move to the next one here. I played 3 games during my rookie preseason and scored a rushing touchdown in all 3 of them. A baller.
Amir Abdullah.
No, great guess. I love that you
fun.
made one.
Good guess.
Sincere McCormick.
No, good guess.
That name's only
awful.
up here because that's how Ryan won one last year from
Yeah.
Jacob. And I will never forgive myself for forgetting Sincere McCormick. So he might show up multiple times in my guesses.
He was a classic Jacob pick because he was a player who could also be an adjective.
No,
And
absolutely.
a cooking
Jacob,
spice brand.
Yeah.
you have the advantage,
Or
Jacob.
is it adverb? I don't know. Whatever.
You're asking the wrong guy. That's why I have 3 other smart
It's
people
an
here. 'Cause
adjective.
That's not me.
Well, sincerely is an adjective. Is it sincere? I don't care. I think
That's
you're
going
right.
to be 5 for 5 next week is adjectives and adverbs.
Modifies
Which
a
means
noun.
someone else is going to have to write it because that's not going to be me. All right, you have the advantage, Jacob. Guess or no? We're moving.
No, I'm taking the advantage next turn.
All right, I missed the second preseason game against Denver because of back spasms, but returned and exploded for 97 rushing yards on only 11 carries the following week.
I'm not gonna be able to take advantage of that. I don't got shit.
Gentlemen?
No, I'm going to pass this time.
Man. Let's give me Ronald Jones.
No, great guess, though. That is a
that's
great
fun.
guess. The chat is suspiciously quiet. Suspiciously
moving
quiet
on.
today. Moving
Yeah,
on.
type of-
I managed only 15 yards on 13 carries in the finale, but still finished the preseason with more than 200 rushing yards.
It's a truly Balajian final game there. Screw it, Kalen Balaj.
Yeah.
It is not, but that's a good guess. That's a really good guess because
I had
Kalen
to hold
Balaj
my
was
tongue. I was like, is he gonna guess it or am I just gonna steal it? Like I would
that
feel
is-
pretty bad if it was right and I
He
just
was
stole
good
it
in the
like that.
preseason. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, that is-
if I recall.
that was definitely a Tom player. So that is very
Okay.
good. Good guess from the chat, but not it.
I got
Let's
nothing.
go. Kenyon Drake.
No, but great guess. Another really good guess. Lucas,
All
you
Now
have an
I feel
advantage.
like a jerk for not guessing because Jacob, you've guessed this round, right?
Yes,
I guessed.
You have
Ryan's
you have
guessed.
benefit.
Okay, I'm going to guess just so it's all even going into it.
Oh,
nice.
okay.
There we
I'll
go.
say Kareem Hunt just for kicks and giggles. I don't know.
No, it is not, but
no,
that's
you
a
think-
really good guess. Despite years of fantasy football breakout hype, I finished my career with only 1,089 rushing yards and 7 rushing touchdowns in 38 games.
Ooh, career's over is interesting.
Oh.
I don't think this guy even had this many rushing yards, but he's the biggest preseason guy I could think of. Darwin Thompson.
No, great guess, because that's someone I drafted in 2019. I don't even think he saw the field in the regular season.
Oh my gosh, this is killing me. I'm trying to think of a very specific player, and I just know that the Fantasy Footballers had a song for him, and now I can't think of it. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I know who you're thinking of, but I don't think it's him.
Okay.
Maybe it is actually.
don't know.
I'll guess him next time. Just
Can I
to
look
troll
at
you,
my
even if it's
music
not
just
right.
to see the song?
Absolutely
No.
not.
Oh my gosh.
Devontae Booker.
No,
Oh,
phenomenal
nice
pull.
one.
No,
Phenomenal pull.
So the only reason why it couldn't be him is because there was a game against Denver, and that's why I was like,
Oh
no.
shit! I didn't even think of that, but yeah, good point.
Right.
I truly can't think of who it is, and
Don't you get the lead in the next one? Jacob guess, Ryan guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
going
you
to
do.
wait. It's killing
All right.
me.
Congrats on your
This is-
point.
Seattle selected me out
Oh,
of Texas
fuck
A&M
off.
with the 62nd overall
God
pick in the
damn it.
2013 NFL Draft.
I actually don't know who.
Wait. Okay. Wait, so are Ryan and I gonna have to do like a what's the buzzing system if
my
Lucas doesn't get
gosh.
this?
If you know it, say it, because I'm still reaching for it, man.
Oh,
give me 10 seconds just to think really
10,
quick here.
9, 8, 7,
No,
6,
no,
5,
that's
4,
way
3,
too
2, 1.
fast. Gosh.
You got
Oh
5
my
seconds,
gosh.
Lucas. You also had
Texas
the advantage.
A&M with 62nd pick overall. Oh my gosh.
can't
I
filibuster.
can only think of Isaiah Spiller, but I know
It
that's
is
not
not.
right.
It's
Jacob?
not. It's Kristen Michael.
It is
Oh,
Michael.
fuck. I was like, no. I was like, it can't be Chris Carson. It can't be. I was like, searching my
Jacob,
brain.
who
through
was I thinking
Seahawks
of?
running backs.
I assume you were thinking of
Yeah.
Carry on My Way.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Carry-
Carry
yeah.
on Johnson.
Yep.
Thank you. I was at
Who was
Keyshawn
good.
Johnson and knew that was wrong. Thank
Yeah.
you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I needed that.
Chat got it as well on the same point, so you guys
also
are
on the
still
last one.
tied.
All right. Yeah.
Said A&M gave it away for me. He said.
A&M
Joe
goat,
says
yeah.
still holding
That
out
one,
hope
if you
for
Kristen
Michael's
Michael is
breakout.
one where I like. If you had just said where did Kristen Michael get selected, 62 would be that. I have that right in the.
All right, let's move
right in
on
the
to number
pocket for me.
3.
Good job there.
I played in 3
Ugh.
games during my rookie preseason, scored a rushing touchdown in all 3 of them.
Is this the same
Justice
clue
Hill.
as?
It is not Justice Hill. Oh, shoot, that might be the exact same question.
Oh,
was
well, then I
just
get my
second.
guess back.
You
Yeah.
will get your guess back. Give me 1 second. I apologize.
I was like,
I was
oh
about to say
shit! I
2
get
in
to
a
guess
row.
all of these random like mid 2010s running backs all over again that I was proud to
The
remember,
exact-
but that
the
were not
exact
the. Yeah,
same
I was
ones.
ready to run back the whole list
No.
of guys.
No, give me just 1 second, and I will be able to fix this problem. Lickety split, because I did have it written down here as
We're falling
well.
apart here. Our pets' heads are falling off.
All right, let's move to the next
No one
one.
seen Dumb
I'll
and
say
Dumber?
instead we'll go with in my
Come on, Ryan.
preseason
Lock in.
debut.
Sorry.
Okay.
I mean, have I seen it? Yeah. Am I gonna understand a reference from a movie
Joe
that I
King says
watched
Kristen Michael.
half drunk, half asleep 5 years ago? Probably no.
Has the chat
Like-
seen Dumb and Dumber? Am I just stuck with Dumb and Dumber beside me here?
Oh my good. Well, below. Let's say in my oh my goodness. In my give me 1 second.
Okay,
We'll go with,
you're just
we'll
giving
go
us
with
the
number
clues
4.
verbally
I
here.
finished
Okay.
that preseason with 84 yards and 3 touchdowns on only 15 carries.
So So the first clue does not apply to this player.
The first clue does not apply.
Okay, so this
Okay.
is the first clue. I finished the preseason with 84 yards and 3 touchdowns on 15 carries.
Yes.
Okay.
Is this Amir Abdullah?
It is not, but good guess.
Maybe I am gonna run back the same list of guesses.
I know. I'm like, do I try all the same guys? I'm gonna hold my powder for now.
Same.
But if it's someone I already said, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah, same.
Okay, next. I capped a 9-play, 82-yard drive with a 4-yard touchdown 1 week. And then against Washington, I scored from 24 yards out and finished a 6-play, 75-yard drive early in the first quarter. So he was a baller.
All right, screw it. I will just keep guessing the same. Is it Darwin Thompson?
No. No. Darwin Thompson is not on the board.
Okay, well, now you've confirmed
is
it.
this one Kerryon Johnson?
No, I actually forgot about him completely. He never popped on my list.
There's not a single running back in my brain right now. I don't know a single running back in the NFL at this point.
Okay.
This
well,
is
then
honestly, this
we'll
is
move to
bringing
the
me
next.
back to like a happier and more carefree time in the fantasy football world when we would just get onto all these random running backs in the preseason.
Good guess by Hallen. My performance convinced Denver to officially name me
Devontae
at starting
Booker?
running back. No. Starting running back before week 1 with the coaching staff specifically praising my pass protection.
Ooh. This is going to be CJ Anderson?
No. Good guess, though. That's a really good guess.
Damn. Lucas, this should be you. Come on.
I already guessed and I was wrong, so that's why I'm being quiet now.
Everybody guessed already on this clue?
Yes.
Yeah.
right.
Except for you.
I know. I'm not gonna hold it. I just want to make sure I'm not gonna get screwed. If I'll guess Royce Freeman.
Correct.
Oh, damn.
So chat almost got it, but I rushed for 521 and 5 touchdowns as a rookie, but undrafted teammate Philip Lindsay produced 1,037 yards, 9 touchdowns, and a Pro Bowl selection. Chat was guessing Philip Lindsay.
Don't I get 3 points
Yes,
because the
you
first
get-
clue wasn't a real clue?
You do get 3.
Thank you.
Correct. That's how we do that when I make a mistake.
Yeah,
That
I
is
knew they
correct.
weren't gonna praise Philip Lindsay's pass protection, but yeah, Royce
No.
Freeman and CJ Anderson both would make sense for that.
All right, let's move on to number 4. I entered the season with a chance to operate as my team's top.
Who's
receiving
Marquez
threat.
Callaway?
Jacob gets it again.
What the fuck?
Oh, as soon as I saw
Where'd
the
this come
thing,
from?
as soon as I saw the category, I was like, there's no way he's not picking Callaway. As soon as I get a receiver, I'm instantly guessing Callaway.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the summer of Marquez Callaway?
I do. I do. That's why he's here.
Weirdly don't.
In my
Dude,
second game.
I love this guy because he's a Tennessee Volunteer.
Yeah.
But like I remember, it was after Michael Thomas had gone like through a bunch of surgeries, and so it looked like it was down to Callaway and Traquan. Callaway had this insane preseason, and then my favorite thing is he went up to like the 7th round of drafts, like at the very end, after he was the guy that was going in round 18 the whole summer. And I'll never forget, Davis is on a show, and someone was like, Davis, like, do you think we should draft this guy, or is it complete steam? And he's like, he wears number 1.
I was totally a Traquan supporter that offseason. That might be why I don't have like the Marquez Callaway preseason memories as vividly.
This would have got for sure, but this one was the most. I forgot he was a volunteer. I wouldn't have included him if I'm
so in on the Marquez Callaway lore that like if you had said what did he post in his second game, I could have given you 5, 104, and 2. Like nobody is more locked in
in my
on
second
Callaway.
game. I caught all 5 targets for 104 and 2 touchdowns. Was the next question?
No, I saw that already. I'm saying like, oh my goodness.
All right, Jacob, you've.
He
worked
was
yourself
my
into a
second
lead.
most beloved Marquez named Tennessee Volunteers receiver. Shout out
number
Marquez
1.
North.
Yep.
Okay, there you go. All right, let's move on to the next one. All 3 of my receptions and all 88 of my yards in my preseason debut came before halftime.
Ooh.
Hallen said Traquan was always better.
Traquan was always better. So true, Hallen. That's such a good like genre of like dynasty beefs that are 5+ years old. That would make
Callaway
for
versus
a really
Traquan,
fun.
yeah.
That would make for a really funny
Couple of
5 for 5
winners there.
episode or show on on its own. Yeah, like we could dig up some hilarious debates that nobody won, and we could just relitigate them.
My goodness.
That'd be a good time. I feel like.
If I get some time, I'll definitely go digging.
I'm going to screw up the last name. Is it Braylon Edwards?
No.
No,
I'll
I
guess
know I screwed
Kenny
up the first
Galladay.
No. Two good guesses. Ryan, anything?
Yeah, I'll pass on this one. I've been
Okay.
throwing out the guesses too willy-nilly today.
Smart. My size and speed combination had dynasty managers setting high expectations. Drafting is supposed to be drafting me for a spelling mistake in the early second round of dynasty rookie drafts.
Hakeem Butler.
No, good guess.
Denzel Mims.
Miles Boykin.
No, and no. I don't think anybody was excited about the speed with Miles Boykin. I can attest to that. But I love how fast the guesses came there. I love it. No, Hallen, that's not it. I gained 181 receiving yards in 3 preseason games, then managed only 138 yards across 13 games during my entire rookie
Jalen
regular
Reagor?
season. No.
Johnny Wilson.
No.
Okay, give me 1 second. Oh my gosh. Why is my brain not working today? Oh my gosh. Dante Thornton?
No, and chat no as well. I love these guesses. They're so good. Phenomenal guesses. In Carolina's 2022 preseason
Jonathan
finale,
Mingo.
No, I led the Panthers
What?
with 43 offensive snaps, but did not record a reception. This was a massive deal.
Shit. Who would this have been?
Oh,
Okay, I guess. Oh no, crap.
Damn it.
Oh my gosh. Oh
Terrace
no.
Marshall.
Correct.
No. Oh.
There we
Fifth
go.
clue in my final preseason
Wasn't even
appearance
that
in
long
Carolina.
ago and was hard to like dig out of the memory there. Damn.
No, excuse me. I only remember this because that was a game I was actually doing clips for early in my Twitter timeline. So this one was near and dear to my heart. I actually clipped the Terrace Marshall game and was hyping him hilariously on August 15th, 2021. So this one was close to my heart. Was he not a late first? In some leagues, but some of the stuff that I
No,
found,
his
he
ADP was,
was
like 203, 204.
yeah, it's
He was
the ADP
he was like in with Elijah Moore that year. There were like Rondale Moore.
Jalen Waddle wasn't even a first rounder that year because it was that was the year. So it would have been Lawrence was the 101, then Lance, then Fields, then Chase, then Najee, then Pitts, then Zach Wilson, then Travis Etienne, then Javonte Williams, then Rashad Bateman, then Devontae Smith, then I think Michael Carter, and then Waddle, and then Marshall.
I don't know if I fully believe you on the order, but that sounds
I do.
about right.
That was way
there
too
were like a
confident.
bunch of guys
Which
in like the early
running
second
back
that
was
I
also
liked,
in
and none
there?
of them
who
hit.
went
Michael
to
Carter.
Tampa Bay? No,
Oh
wasn't
no,
there-
Vaughn was the year prior, but this
Yes.
year was Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon and Michael Carter
Got it.
were in the mix there.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that was the 204, I believe, was Trey Sermon.
Yeah, I'm not certain on the order, but I'm just saying I can get to 12 before you get to Marshall.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to say.
All right, that's the show for this week. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm happy football is back. There's lots to talk about now every single week. Only a few weeks left to 5 for 5. So remember, winner of the FNL spot, that is coming next week. And in 2 weeks' time, we will have the Fantasy Points Listener League startup to talk about while there's not really much football to be played. So we'll be excited for that. Stay tuned for that. Remember, tomorrow we have an episode dropping. We're talking about rookies, who's moving up, who's moving down, all the above on the regular Dynasty Points podcast. And again, here on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, all the fun stuff. Jacob.
I just want to let the chat know that they came into today with I think a 5-point lead, a 4-point lead,
Yeah.
and now it's an 8-point deficit. Get a grip, chat. Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. Think about how hard you worked to build up your lead, and you got cocky and you let it go. You were like all these preseason all-stars. That's what you are, chat. You're a preseason all-star. You're out here beating up on the second team, and then you get a big head, and what happens on the big stage? See you next week. Good night.
Oh,
Ryan, what does that make
Jacob
us,
truly
then?
is the Traquan Smith of this, while the chat is the Marquez Callaway.
Yeah, they were fucking Callaway maxing while I Smith mogged them.
remember that clear eyes and full hearts can never lose, and that your best days are always spent tilting. We'll see you guys next
Get mogged,
time.
losers.